Joss, I'd just love to know, it's hard to hear up here sometimes. Joss, I'd love to know, just like how important were these actors in sort of bringing your vision to life? And you could just talk about like casting like Summer, like why was she perfect for Ruth?
You can't change your mind now. I already done got cast.
Sure. George Lucas could. He could digitally make you. I'm not saying we've had a meeting about it. I'm just saying. These, as I've said before, are honestly the finest meat puppets that I've ever controlled. It's hard for me because I do remember the time before these people played these parts. I remember the audition process. I remember, you know, it was an incredibly long and ghastly process, quite frankly. And yet, then comes written history where these were the people before I wrote it. And I feel like somehow, at some point, I was in a hotel in London and I finished this book, you know, which is a story I've told many times, Killer Angels, and was like, this is the story I want to tell, but with Han Solo in it. And I feel like the moment that happened, like all of them sort of like were somewhere just like went, like they became somebody else. And they didn't know it yet, but they were those people before they met me, and even if they hadn't been playing them or playing that particular type of person, it just, Summer is so crazy. And, you know, the amount of vulnerability and strength that she can convey is beyond magnetic. It is, you know, I look at her and I think I will come with her if I want to live.
And Joss, why was Nathan the perfect captain for the Serenity? Why was Nathan feeling the perfect captain for Serenity?
Okay. You know, you have to make compromises at some point. But before I wax lyrical, I just want to say one other thing. Watching that, because I haven't watched the show in a while, Jewel makes me cry, and Gina is the most badass woman I've ever seen. It really is absurd. People who are not here, my heart is breaking that they're not here. Not just to experience this, but because I miss them so much. And that's ridiculous, because look what I got. But I'm still greedy and I want more. I want the whole set. Two, one that I can keep in the box, well, in a jar in my basement, and the other that I can play with for real. The captain. I don't know how to first of all, I know that no matter what I say, he's gonna make a face. And it's gonna change the context of whatever I'm saying. I'll stare at you. Restraint, dignity. These are the things that there was never a moment from the time we met where I did not think you were the captain. And anybody who knows the history of what went after the show, up to and including a party at your house like 3 weeks ago, knows that Nathan is the captain. The thing that, you know, Alan was saying, he is there to make sure that everybody is having the best time doing their best work. That's partially the job of the executive producer or the director. The DP also has a big influence on the crew, but the captain of a ship and the star of a show both have a responsibility that most actors are not up to or ignore, or even if they're trying to do it, they can't convey the enormous gravitas that this clown can. And to have a man who, when he looks at you, you go, and he's not happy with you. And I know, and I think we can all remember, we had a visiting actor who was very disrespectful to some of the females in the cast. And he got a taste of what Nathan's like when somebody threatens his loved ones. Just a little piece. You don't want that. You don't want that. He gets very Canadian. And Alan's in it too.
I think we should get into fan questions here pretty quick. Just 2 more questions before we do that. Adam, I'd love to hear just like what has the fan phenomenon, the brown coats have kept this thing alive for 10 years. What has it meant to you?
Kelly Wheeler was a woman who worked in our office, and she was assistant to Gareth Davies, our production manager, producer. And she introduced us all to the online community, and that outreach that got to us, and the feedback that fans were able to give to us over time really was inspirational. And I was talking about this earlier today, that upon cancellation of the film, I ran up to Joss's office because I had been not on the set when the announcement was made, and I saw him diligently trying to get it back up in the air, and I saw this look of determination in his eyes, and I never gave up hope. And the feedback from the fan, I was never able to say anything, it was always up to Joss, but when the fan community that was interacting with us at that point, they never gave up, and I think Joss understood that you never gave up, and so he never did either. So one of the most heartwarming and wonderful times of my entire life was watching that show be resurrected as a major motion picture. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
I sometimes look back and I think of the movie Serenity as one of the finest nervous breakdowns a man could possibly have.
Expensive.
I was inconsolable, and it changed me, and it changed the way I work, and it changed the way I operate, because there was no reality where I would not get these people back together. There was just none. I've never been that before. And really, I don't give a shit about anything since. So that was the one time. It was almost like being a man. Or so I have read.
Let's go to the audience. Where's our first question?
St. Albans.
Winner!
Okay. Actual question. First, the show has saved my life. That's kind of the only way I can put it without talking for 10 minutes. But thank you for that. Okay, action. I can speak. What is your favorite fan story? Just crazy, run into brown coat on the street and say, "Hey, Kevin," which I saw on Twitter once, Nathan, and stuff. I'm not gonna panic attack, really.
Speaking of Twitter, last night I saw on Twitter there were some folks hanging out in line. I ran down there. You guys were down, I don't know what time you lined up, but at 8 o'clock. I came down like 11:30, and you were all there, and you were very nice, so thank you for that. I heard there were some other people. And I got a cupcake. Spiked. Wait a minute. Please be aware that many members of your audience may be under the age of 18
years of age.
Looks like our contest winner has her hat on. Can we get a shot?
Yeah.
Awesome. happy coordinating with one that. All right, next question.
It didn't get answered.
You want your okay, so one crazy van story. What was one crazy
fans.
Crazy van. That's what she asked.
Bad timing. Oh, sorry. I watched one time when a woman walked up to you, Joss, and we were in the foyer of a building, and a woman walked up to you and made to speak and broke down into tears.
I kicked her.
Which surprised me because I didn't know you very well. But now I do. But much like you said, and it always warms my heart when people say it had an effect, when you say it saved your life. Obviously, this woman, you touched her in a... When people are moved, I like that.
Do you remember the time? Do you remember the time that we were off the air for 10 years? And then,
Like it was
like
yesterday.
thousands of people showed up to see us anyway. Remember that?
It makes me wish I brought something cool along to show you, but I just wish I was thinking ahead.
All right, next question.
Yes. Muscle management.
Hi, is Enora's missing storyline ever going to be put into a graphic novel? And if not, can you fill us in on what it was?
I'm sure Marina's gonna tweet about it or something.
Or maybe Tim will talk about
Hey,
it.
somebody
in the
said that
science
Ben Edlund
panel
already spilled
just
it.
did.
Oh! Yeah, you know what? I do actually. You really told everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, it won't air. It hasn't aired
Almost inked the deal.
Only on the Science Channel.
yet. Yeah, it hasn't aired yet, so you can go ahead and...
No, I'm not gonna say anything, but I am gonna say that Dark Horse, which has been doing the Firefly and the Serenity books, they keep changing their name because the rights keep floating from Universal to Fox, and it's very strange. But it's our peeps. They're their biggest selling books of all time. They're bigger than Buffy. They're bigger than Hellboy. They're bigger than anything else they have. The biggest hardcover they've ever sold was The Shepherd's Tale. This is true, which is the work of myself and a brilliant young man named Zach Whedon. Chris Samney, and so we're going to be continuing with that. Zach and I just spent some time figuring out how to do some comics actually moving forward in the future and not just telling stories from the past, because we started talking about it and we came up with all this amazing cool shit. So it's just I didn't think of it as a comic. But apparently I was the only one. So look forward to that. And I want to thank Dark Horse for carrying that banner, because they were pretty fierce about hounding me about getting it done.
Question.
Good afternoon, I'm Moses on the Twitter. And I'd like to know from the panel if you have a particularly favorite piece of fan art, tribute, or fiction you'd like to share with us.
Alan, your sister.
Oh, yeah!
It still hangs in my house.
Oh, that's so cool!
And I still have yet to thank her for it.
Oh yeah! Folks should probably be able to watch this on YouTube at some point. But yeah, my sister is an artist, and when we were canceled, I asked her to make a painting. I commissioned her to do this painting of Joss protecting a firefly in a jar.
Nice.
From some evil Fox executives. because I think your body is the jar, and you like the arms, and she's a really good artist.
Executives are all just hanging suits with faces on
Yeah,
them.
it's true.
It's a beautiful painting. It has me in it. You feel really weird, but it's just so gorgeous. And then how I look at it, with enough critical distance of get over the fact that it's about that you're in it, and just go, this is the exact story of what happened. It's so beautifully rendered, and it's so dark, and it's the best.
Nice.
There's a guy here, Jason Palmer.
Jason Palmer.
He does really neat stuff. He's a very talented guy. I like that when he draws my face. It looks just like me, only better looking.
And pretty soon he's gonna do some nudes.
Only better looking.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi guys, after hearing a bunch of the crew members on various DC animated shows, would you ever consider doing Firefly as an animated series?
I get it, but for some reason, I would be more interested in doing it as a radio show.
And it would go a little something like this.
Close your eyes.
What?
Sorry, I was asleep.
Looks like we're heading into Admo. I'm gonna need you at the bridge.
Yeah, sure thing, Captain. God dang it.
Hey Zoe, what up? Now that he's gone. What do you say? Oh,
Hey, Captain, what are you still doing in my room? Get out of there! So I should say something really, really smart, really informative and intelligent.
I think you might have a fever.
a femur? The only cure is more Firefly.
That's what the IT for by the end of the day.
Next question.
Question for Joss. Firefly, one of the things I loved about Firefly was the exploration of the fusion of Asian and American cultures. Many Asian Americans go through a similar journey. I was wondering if you would explore that again in the future, if you would be willing to include Asian or Asian American performers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a mission statement in terms of who I'm casting for a particular thing. It was a mission statement with the show to say, there's cultures inevitably blend, even if it happens through conquest and violence. Even if one country invades another, eventually they incorporate it. I like the utopian idea that the two greatest superpowers on Earth at this point sort of had melded instead of just being pissy with each other. And I think, again, when I said immigrant story, I meant that specifically. I wanted, the cultures to show the way you look back and what you think of as what's going on. And then, to wrap it up, I got a lot of flack from one Asian journalist who kept asking why I cast an Asian woman as Sean Marr's sister. That didn't make any sense. And he was very angry about it. Yeah.
Wait a second.
All right, next question.
Hi, everybody. Oh, that's me. Oh, okay, sorry. So, 10 years after Firefly's over, you guys are still getting a lot of love from your fans, from the internet. I'm wondering if you just
feel really proud of what you did, or if a part of you is like, well, where are these screaming people a decade ago?
That's a good point.
In fairness?
Totally. In preschool, I think.
Yeah.
I love when people apologize to me. Like, I'm really sorry. I didn't see the show till it was on DVD. I was like, so you didn't see the show until I got paid for it? So you had to buy it from me? God damn you! You know what? That was never a question. The 27 people who saw it when it aired loved it.
I said this earlier today, so forgive me if you're going to hear it again. I said earlier that when Firefly died, I thought it was the worst thing that could possibly happen. And what I realize now, 10 years later, looking out over this room, is that the worst thing that could have happened is if it had stayed dead. That it died is okay. That you guys are here.
All right, next question.
Can we just, everybody just tweet that I said that? I don't want him to have the best.
Relax, relax. Let's listen to the lady with an amazing t-shirt. This girl seems extremely intelligent to me, and I want to know what she's got on her mind.
It's actually also my birthday, so best way to spend it. And I wanted to know if you guys have ever camped out all night long for something, and if you have, what was it?
Camping. Happy birthday again.
I did camping once, but I called my mom to come pick me up in the middle of the night. I never stayed overnight. I was scared.
The longest I camped would have been like a Baby Jane and then some other great gay classic.
All right, next question. Nothing to camp out for up there.
We have time for one more question.
Good, make it good.
Pressure.
I like your coat.
No pressure.
Hey, had you known that season 1 would be the last season of Firefly, how would the finale have differed from Serenity?
Would have been littler. A lot of the Reavers would have been off screen. They would have been, oh my God, look at those ones over there as well that are also there. In addition to the two you can see. Not many people realize that when Firefly was being made, it had a smaller budget than both Buffy and Angel. It was the cheapest show we were making. Which to me, when I watch it, is extraordinary. But apart from that, I think obviously a couple of things would have been different. Even if they had canceled the show and I absolutely knew that that was the end of the show, I don't think I would have killed anybody. Film is a different animal and has different needs, and I think we would have delved more heavily into the Blue Sun conspiracy aspect of it, which we had to drop for the movie, which I was sorry about. And we would have learned a book, and we would have learned about Inara. And for some reason, that's the question that's going to make me cry. That's okay. You know what? That is a good last question.
ask Joss one more question. We'd like to roll a clip.
You don't know me, son, so let me explain this to you once.